The call of the Hogs can be heard all the way to San Francisco.
You're listening to Pod at the Palace with Curtis Wilkerson on Inside Arkansas.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Welcome to the show and to the weekend. Feels good, man. I'm really looking forward to it. Get to kick back and have both eyes on Razorback baseball down in Florida. That's nice for a change. It has been one eye on Razorback baseball, one eye on the transfer portal. Probably why I need a new pair of glasses, but I digress. And then Saturday, me and Andrew Ellis are getting with a couple buddies. We're loading up. We're road tripping to Kansas City for the UFC Fight Night. That should be fun. I've gone from, I would say, a very casual fan. It's like, Conor McGregor's fighting. Cool. I'll check that out. To a pretty regular follower. I enjoy it. I'm really excited. But the three people that I'm going with, absolute diehards, junkies, sickos. So should be a pretty good time. Hey, guys, I've seen a lot of folks, in the comments or just on social media or the Discord or out and about talking to folks. They're getting a little bit antsy, man. It's kind of frustrated with the Arkansas basketball situation, just a little bit. Not everybody, but I've seen enough of it to where I feel like I had to give a reminder because a lot of people are saying, "What's going on? Where's all the action? What are they doing? Are they done? What the heck?" No. But like we've been trying to caution you now for most of the week, Arkansas is not in a hurry. Remember that. They're not expecting anything addition-wise in the immediate future. Things are always subject to change if the right situation pops up there, but it's a waiting game. And it's a mystery that's going to require a little bit of patience, which we learned in that entire month before we had a couple portal additions, right? And we'll see how they round things out at some point here, and they will. But in the meantime, we speculate, right? And we have a little fun. We start diving into some other things along the way, and we'll get a better feel about like where some of these draft guys fall. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more today, but that'll happen in the next few weeks. And some things will become a little bit more clear as we move forward here, but give it time, give it a little bit of patience. Trust in Cal, right? Trust the process. As soon as we started to waver a little bit a few weeks ago, then what happened? He goes out and gets 2 centers in one day and he retains half the roster. And now we're all like, oh, yeah, well, that's awesome. He did exactly what he said he was going to do. They'll round this thing out. They'll be just fine. Okay. Let's see. What are we going to do? I think what we're going to do today, honestly, is just we're kind of bouncing around a little bit because there's nothing crazy going on. But at the same time, there's some smaller notables and updates that could lead to some good discussion that we want to get into and just kind of follow the theme that we've been talking about here. A few things we're going to touch on. One, Cal, he's shown his first signs of life since the portal closed, and he's done it in hilarious fashion. 2, it is NBA mock draft season, and we're, excited to see about like an Adu Thero, a pro hog. Where's he going to wind up? But we're really watching those things closely for other reasons, aren't we? So we're going to talk about that and add a little bit of context because I know there was one mock draft that was out there that freaked some people out the other day. There are more that might make you feel a little bit better. And then what about freshmen, incoming freshmen? Are there any potential additions to the roster possible that would make sense? A handful of names and some scenarios that I want to run by you a little bit of a vibe check to see how you feel about this thought process that's going on through my mind. And then we'll have some random tidbits there at the end. But hey, folks, before we get started, we got to give a shout out to our official sponsor of the Pod at the Palace, the Eye Center of Northwest Arkansas. And listen, you could probably repeat the ad read word for word that I give every day, but we're mixing up a little bit. You know the drill at this point. The Eye Center of Northwest Arkansas, they're your go-to for all of your vision needs. Glasses and contacts, you need them? Check. You want to get rid of them? They can help you with that too. That custom cataract surgery, the reflective lens exchange surgery, they've got all of it there, right there at their clinic location in Fayetteville. But right now, they're doing a little bit of a giveaway over on their socials that I wanted to make you aware of. What's the giveaway, you ask? It's a pair of Urker sunglasses and 50 units of Botox. Okay. The Eye Center's optical department is partnering with their nurse injector, Olivia Risch, which just so happens to be my actual eye doctor over there's sister. Okay, in their clinic. That makes sense, the partnership. To get in on the fun there, all you have to do is like, tag, and follow the Eye Center Fayetteville and Injector Olivia NWA on their Instagram pages. The winner is going to be announced on May 9th. Okay. So like, tag, and follow on Instagram, the Eye Center Fayetteville and Injector Olivia NWA. Pair of free shades, 50 units of Botox. There you go. There you have it. All right, let's get right into it. Where do we start? I tell you what, we're going to start with we're going to have a little bit of fun here because this made me laugh. Okay. It's been such an adjustment from Eric Musselman to John Calipari, portal wise, recruiting wise. Right. And especially lately, we've gotten to the point, I feel like personally, like, if a notification comes through and I see that a transfer has dropped a contact list or a group of finalists or here are his visits, I just have zero expectation for Arkansas's name to appear. But I still look. I just kind of open it. I'm like, oh, I don't know, maybe this time. Well, you know what? We finally got one, didn't we? And for the first time since the portal closed, we got that on Thursday when Arkansas was among the initial schools who've reached out and made contact with Kentucky freshman guard Travis Perry. Oh, man. I mean, this one gets me. It's objectively amazing and hilarious all at the same time because Perry was the one guy in John Calipari's signing class at Kentucky last year when he made the move that everyone immediately assumed would not follow him to Arkansas. Why? Well, mainly because he's an in-state kid, right? A Kentucky kid. And there was all the talk about John Calipari never wanted him anyway. He almost had to be forced to take him. He felt like he was pressured into doing it. Blah, 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 blah. One thing after another. You know how it is, piling on John Calipari. What makes this funny to me, obviously he didn't go. He stayed at Kentucky. He played for him some as a freshman this year. And he had his moments, by the way. I remember him hitting a couple of big threes. I think it was against Tennessee in a win there when they were shorthanded. Stepped up and did a good job for him when they were down. We know that they were out some point guards, throughout the course of the season. He probably wasn't expected to help much as a true freshman, but he did. He had his moments there. And there you have it. But now you have Mark Pope out there bringing in all his shiny new toys, his which is his cap, by the way, but his $20 million roster full of transfers, recruiting the home state kid right off the roster. And what do you have? It's BBN making every excuse in the world, justifying Mark Pope for doing it. Yet it's John Calipari who, despite what people will tell you, got him to Kentucky in the first place that's reaching out to him now. I find that amazing. I love it. I'm happy that they did it. Fantastic stuff. Even if it was just to troll a little bit or a courtesy call. It could have been a text message. Hey, big head, you up? What you doing? I love it, man. This made me so happy. And to see some of there were articles written about this from Kentucky media members, which, hey, if the shoe was on the other foot, I'd have done the exact same thing. So no shade, but it's still funny being on this end of it. I mean, you want to talk about triggered. Louisville was one of the schools that reached out to him too. So you've got these articles out there that are like, Arkansas and Louisville reaching out to, the local legend from Kentucky. It's hilarious, man. It cracks me up. And it's not making fun of the kid by any means. It's just the situation that's funny to me. Could you imagine if Travis Perry wound up in Fayetteville or at Louisville, either one of those places? BBN would be in shambles. I tweet that out sometimes. They have a decommitment or they miss on a guy or whatever. I'll tweet it out just to get them riled up. But always part of the banter. I love it. It cracks me up. And when they get an opportunity to get me or get us, they do, and it's all good. It's all in good fun. But oh man, I think they actually would be in shambles if that happened. The all-time leading scorer in the state or whatever. I think he's set multiples like scoring records, 3-point makes, whatever. He's been that guy. Small town Kentucky kid. Man, oh man. But back to reality for a second, like fun aside, an impressive contact list for him. Honestly, more SEC and high major flair there than I expected. To be frank there, Ole Miss, Maryland, Vandy, Iowa, Georgia, Tennessee, Missouri, LSU, South Carolina, and Western Kentucky were the other schools included, as well as Arkansas and Louisville there. So, a lot of people kicking the tires there. And, I think the two questions are, could he help? And could it happen? Could he help? I think if Travis Perry understood and embraced being very much the specialist shooter, zone buster, role player type of guy, you know what I mean? Like 10th, 11th man, whatever. There's some real value there. I believe that. Again, he holds multiple all-time, scoring and shooting records in Kentucky in high school. But I do think he might be better served. And this is just my opinion, dropping down a level, proving it with more opportunity in front of him, and then transferring back up. He seems like a prime candidate to me for that. Played some as a freshman. He's not the biggest, most athletic guy in the world. Go down a level, crush it at a mid-major, then come back up. That would be the pathway that I could see for him. Like Arkansas could absolutely use a backcourt shooting edition and even one that wouldn't command a bunch of minutes. But I've been told, we probably shouldn't expect things to evolve too much there as it pertains to Arkansas. Okay. But it's an awesome story. And I had to bring it up here on the show. I wish they would do it for the added spice to the rivalry. But I think right off the top, the places like Western Kentucky make a lot of sense. I know that Ole Miss and Chris Beard, they actually recruited him heavily, and I think he was considering them out of high school. So that might be a destination. Those places far more likely than Arkansas, but we've been starving for something, a little contact, anything to talk about that's tangible. Well, there you have it. And it just so happened to be somebody who was already committed and signed with Cal before he left Kentucky. So anyway, let's shift gears a little bit here to our heavy hitters segment presented by our friends over at HD Roofing and Construction, who will be out to check out my situation next week after all the storms that we had over the weekend. Got to make sure I don't have any damage going on there. HD Roofing and Construction, we know when those storms hit unexpectedly, you can count on them to give you some peace of mind with that free inspection. When you choose HD Roofing, you can rely on professionalism, top quality materials, and expert installation for all of your roofing needs. Check out hdarkansas.com for more info. And listen, like I said earlier, I know folks were worked up a couple days ago over that no ceilings mock draft board that came out. It had Karter Knox way higher than most expected. He was up there at 36th, right? I get it. Seeing that could have been a little alarming, sure. When he's, such an important piece to you, in terms of having him back next season. A lot of people are expecting him to be your best player, potential breakout star in the country, in the SEC. And, when you see him creeping up higher and higher, when it was felt like kind of a foregone conclusion, hey, he's just going to test the waters, he'll be back. You see that and you go, oh, do we have something to worry about? Right. And here's the thing. There were several mocks and big boards from the most reputable draft analysts in the business that have come out since that one. So what I want to do is share those as well for a little bit of added context, and we'll talk about it for a couple minutes there and move on to something else. And we're not just doing it for Karter, by the way, because we all want to see where Adu winds up. I hope, man, if he sneaks into the first round, that would be awesome. After everything he's been through throughout the course of his career, to have this breakout season, then he gets derailed by injury. If he can still find his way into the first round, that would be so cool. Really want that for him. But the Boogie Fland thing is very interesting. We all have our eyes on the Jamir Watkins decision as well, right? So let's talk about it for a minute. Jonathan Givony over at ESPN, one of the best in the business. He released his most updated big board. And so maybe not straight mock draft, but a big board. And what did he have here? Adu Thero at 26. So he does have him at the back end of the first round. That's sick. I love it. Boogie Fland, though, another one, 53. So late second round there. What's interesting about this, though, because you see that and you're like, shoot, he might come back to college if that winds up being a consistent thing here moving forward. But he interviewed Boogie at a workout. It was about 5 minutes long. I listened to it. I retweeted it. You got to check it out. And Boogie was, it was everything that we heard when the news was released, and it kind of fell right in line with what John Calipari tweeted out the other day. But Boogie's a guy who's very, very much fully immersed in the draft process. It's going to take a stock tank for him to come back to college, in my opinion. Now, if he's mocking, and his feedback comes back as late second round, which that suggests, Oh, well, we might have to have some conversations there, but I get the feeling that a lot of it is, sure, like his strength and his finishing ability with physicality and all that. But I think once scouts get him in the building, they're able to evaluate him. He has some workouts. He gets to the combine and is able to do some things there. You're going to see him creep back up there. Is he going to get all the way back into the lottery discussion where he was early in the season? No, probably not. Could he sneak into the back end of the first round or that early second round territory? I think he definitely can. And that's obviously if he shows well, which I anticipate he's going to do. I think he's a tremendous player. That's probably a little bit undervalued for what he did at Arkansas, but we'll certainly keep an eye on it, right? I think that might have been our vibe check the other day, is like, what if Boogie did come back to college? Because if he does, probably ain't going to be a Razorback. How would you feel if he was at St. John's with Rick Pitino or, in Chapel Hill at North Carolina? I know they got an opening. I don't know how I'd feel about that. Maybe not great. But at any rate, in this one, we saw Karter Knox in the no ceilings draft up there at 36th. And this one, Javoni had him at 59. So the very back end of draft territory there. I think that's more like it. And in line with, I think where his stock actually is maybe at the moment, and this pre-workouts, combine and all that. But remember, Javoni was the one who had him labeled as projecting him as a first round pick a year from now in 2026. And I think that's probably what we're going to be looking at. Jamir Watkins, by the way, in this one, 70. So not even projected as a draft pick. This illustrates to me the wide range with him, which I think is why we're still kind of waiting in a limbo to see what he's going to do. Because you can see him anywhere from mid-range of the second round to out completely like this compared, based on where you look. I'm sure he wants a guarantee of sorts, right? And maybe he'll get it, but even if he winds up with that guarantee in terms of being selected, I still maintain he's highly unlikely to get the money doing that he would in college next season. And this route, like a late second round or UDF, that's going to be there for him next year, regardless. Which is why I still continue to believe that he's going to ultimately choose to return to college. I could be wrong, but it just seems like the logical thing to me. Let's see. Javoni wasn't the only one who put out a new mock. We also have an update from Jonathan Wasserman at Bleacher Report, another guy who I think does a really, really good job. This one had Adu early second round at 37th, had Boogie quite a bit higher at 42nd. So early to mid second round. Jamir Watkins in this one. So he's like 70th in Javoni's, and then Wasserman's got him at 48th. So kind of in that mid second round range. Again, there's that variance with him. And this one could be something that would entice him. I think especially if he got into that top 45 range and really got a solid guarantee there, that could be an area where he would have something to think about because he definitely would prefer to stay in the draft. But still, I think the money's going to be there for him in college. And by the way, Karter Knox goes unselected in this one. So point being with all this, from mock to mock, depending on where you look and what type of intel those particular guys have received right now, those things are all over the place. The variance is so high. So you can't really look at one that you don't like what you see and go, oh my gosh, oh man, we're going to lose Karter. This is tough. Without looking at these other ones that have him further down. And then vice versa. You can't look at one with Watkins. It's like, oh, 70th, he's coming back to college. Cool. Arkansas should be all over him. And then look at these other ones and ignore them. Right? They become more accurate and more consistent from place to place within the next few weeks here. Reminder, all these workouts are going to be happening soon. The combine is May 11th through 18th, and then the deadline to withdraw from the NBA draft and maintain your college eligibility is May 28th. So the further along we get, we'll continue to talk about these as they update and we start getting some feedback. We'll talk to some scouts and everything like that. Who might have a little bit more of an inside point of view on where these things stand. But right now, for the most part, once you get out of that top 20 range in these mocks, you can kind of take it with a grain of salt. Just telling you the truth. All right, last segment here. Let's move on to our vibe check presented by Basis Health. And you know the deal, they're changing the way healthcare is delivered by providing those mobile medical visits in the comfort of your own home. If you don't have time to make a doctor's appointment, if you can't get out there yourself, they'll come to you. A doctor will come straight to your home for urgent care, primary care, IV hydration, and more. Basis Health, they're here for you when you need them the most. Our vibe today, because what I want to do, I'm trying to get a pulse from you guys about something here. Just a thought process has been going through my mind a little bit. Now, before I pose this to you, let me preface off the top. I am not saying that Arkansas should or will or plans to go this route to round out the roster. That's not what I'm doing here. Okay. I expect him to make another experienced addition to this team for the actual rotation at some point. But you got 15 spots. You had 15 last year and you only had 13 scholarships. This year you have the scholarship limit goes up from 13 to 15. So if they were full last year, I imagine they would be full this year. So let's do a little bit of math. Right now, if you assume Carter's back, then you have 11 with your top 8, right? Plus Isaiah Sealy, Kareem Rattel, and then Jaden Carletwa, who we are presuming is going to be returning. That gives you 11. So you got room to work with. And if you add one, big addition or rotation addition, whatever you want to call it, that's 12. You still have 2-3 spots that you can fill. And there's a bunch of different ways that Arkansas could go about doing that. And we're talking about each one of them here kind of from day to day. I think there's some real legit value potentially here with unsigned seniors in the 2025 class. Like, what would you, so your vibe check here, what would you say to Arkansas grabbing one more piece, a portal player, international guy, whatever, who's going to slot in and help you, and then swiping up another Frosh or two to see what you have there to develop some high upside, low risk, high reward type of additions? Because I think that's what they are now. One thing the portal has done, which is a little bit sad to me, it's devalued high school seniors and incoming freshmen who aren't the top end type of talents. Used to be, if you were a 4-star, top 150 ranked guy, you were going to a high major and with probably a chance to play right away. That's just shifted significantly during the portal era. There are highly ranked kids in this high school senior class who are signing with Louisiana Lafayette, VCU, Iona, George Mason. That's not because they're not as talented as kids from past classes. It's just the way it's going because you're seeing high majors save those funds, those NIL funds, and prioritize getting the guys who've been there, done that, and proven it. And they also understand that there's not, like you can go get these guys, but are you really going to be able to keep them in your program? Right? Because it's there's no regulations, there's no rule, there's no guardrails to protect you from bringing in a guy, develop him for a year, and then he dips on you and goes somewhere else, and you don't get to reap the benefits of it. And it's something that Cal's talked about in the past, so we have to consider that when we talk about it, because he's a little bit leery of that. But I feel like it's a little bit different in certain situations here. If I look at the top 150 right now at On3 or 24/7, like those reputable outlets, I have identified 15 players still available who are ranked that high here in late April, unsigned. That's kind of crazy. And there's a few exceptions here that we're going to touch on, but for a lot of these kids, if you haven't made up your mind at this point, you're probably coming at a bargain rate compared to, say, a mid-major portal player who you're trying to get to fill out your roster with, who's experienced, but who may not have the same type of upside and potential as some of these young guys. And my thought process is you're probably listening pretty closely if John Calipari is on the other end of that phone call, if it's made. So let's talk about some of the names here. Just to throw it out, just to provide a little bit of context. Now, there's a couple of borderline 5-stars who have recently decommit, and this is another thing you're seeing a lot of. Teams have a recruiting class committed, signed, whatever. They go out and get a bunch of dudes in the portal, And then the high school guys look back at it and they go, actually, I might be able to find a better situation. You kind of recruited over me. This guy's here at my position. What the hell? Which is part of the reason why, as we've tackled portal season, what have I said over and over? It's like, yeah, I get it, man. It would be cool to get a PJ Haggerty or, whoever else to add to your backcourt. But if you already got DJ there and, you got Karter and Billy and, you also have Darius and Malik coming in as fresh, like what kind of message would that be sending? That's probably why it hasn't happened, And there are ways to skirt around that. And I think that they could. Like I said earlier, I think there's room for a shooter specialist there in the backcourt, maybe at the off guard position, who wouldn't command a ton of minutes or wouldn't threaten, those burger boys or whatever. But that's part of it. And some of these teams have been hurt by that. So guys like Darius Adams, who just decommit from UConn, or Caden Lewis even at Kentucky, really, really good and talented players who are available at this stage of the game. Adams makes some sense, actually. I mean, this is a top 20 guy who was just committed to Danny Hurley and, the team that's won the national championship 2 out of 3 years. Those guys are available. Wow. Mika Murinan. And now this is a 2026 5-star forward who visited in the fall, and he's been a rumored reclass candidate to 2025 for a long time. Now, he actually shut it down in the winter, but I know those rumors have been swirling around again, right? Now, this would be a guy, though, this is a little bit different because he would be one who would come and play for you immediately if he reclassed and came to Arkansas. With him, just to tell you what I know, I can confirm that it's becoming increasingly likely that Mika does reclass to 2025, but things have cooled there with Arkansas from what I've gathered. And he's also just coming off of a Texas Tech visit, and all of a sudden this is heating up again. So that kind of makes you raise a brow. Michigan, Duke, others have been in there as well. Now, does that mean Arkansas wouldn't pursue or turn up the heat if Mika came available for this coming season? Not at all. I'm sure they would, but they just wouldn't be a front runner there out of the gates. And these kids typically, not in all cases, but typically have a pretty good idea of where they're headed when they make the decision to reclass. So if he does, we'll reevaluate and look at it at that point. But that's just where things are at right now. Several names, though, currently available still in this 2025 class in the top 150 rankings. Jordan Forsythe is one who we've talked about before. Arkansas has been connected to him since he decommit from Xavier when Sean Miller left. 6'5" wing, led the EYBL in 3-point percentage. Arkansas could use some shooters. He's taken a couple other visits, though. I think West Virginia and Tulane or something. He's got a couple of visits lined up. I would imagine he'll probably pop to one of those. If he doesn't, maybe we'll look back at it. But that was one that Arkansas did reach out to, who meets this qualification. So I wanted to point that out because I think it's not unprecedented that Arkansas does this. Remember, Cash Chavis was committed to Washington, decommit. Arkansas picked him up in the summer. So they've got a track record for doing this, and they've already reached out to a guy who fits the description. And so that's why I'm talking about it today. A few more. Maper McCurr, interesting because he's a cousin of Thon Maker, a 7-footer in the top 100 here who's uncommitted. What? Now, the thing about him is I did a little bit of research on all these guys. I don't see anything at all on this kid. Nothing. Not connected to any program. No idea what his story is, but still highly ranked at this point and available. Tyler Jackson, a 4-star guard out of Baltimore. He's 6'2" with a 6'7" wingspan, a shot maker, shot creator, still available. Alex Austin, 4-star wing from Chicago, 6'8", can play that 3-4. Played in the inner city in Chicago, tough as nails, explosive, really good player in the city league down there, available. Trayvon Maddox, a 4-star wing he's from South Carolina, 6'6", kind of a late bloomer. He was committed to, I think, like Stephen F. Austin or somewhere like that, but he really took off. Late bloomer, started balling out, stock riser, reopened his recruitment. He's still out there. Kevin Odie, tough, physical, 6'4" guard, super athletic, got a super high motor. Buzz Williams at Maryland, all over him right now. Utah, on him. 4-star, still available at this stage of the game. Braden Hawthorne, 6'8" wings. These some dudes with some size here. Recently decommit from West Virginia because of their coaching change. 4-star, still available. Badara Diakite, 6'10" forward, long, versatile defender. He can guard multiple spikes. He's switchable at his size. He's been committed to Iowa in the Big Ten for a while. Their coach dips, he reopens. 4-star, still available. Najee Hines, 6'10", 250-pound 4-star big man from Jersey. Available. So, like, there's just a handful of names here. But my thought process, guys, is this. If you have your, say, 9 guys in the rotation that you're excited about getting all the minutes, so you make one more notable ad, then you have guys like Sealy and Rattel, see what you get out of them. Why not bring a guy or two in like this? You sort of did it with Cash, right? Although there are a lot of seniors in this class available right now who are better than him. No disrespect. Love Cash, vibes coordinator, locker room guy, my dude. But it's just true. Why not go get a shooter that you can try to develop and see what you have out of, who actually has some upside? And please, I'm begging you, get one of these big guys that we just mentioned to put under Kenny Payne's wing to learn and to grow and to practice against Malik Ewan and Nick Pringle. You'll grow up fast doing that every day and just see what happens. Like the Kenny Payne thing killed. It's like, what's the use of having the big man whisperer if he doesn't have any big ears to whisper into for more than a year at a time? Some of these young guys and let them get to work. Let them develop them. I'm just saying, I think this is an opportunity to add quality depth that could turn into retention, that you could turn into something that helps you down the road. Or hell, maybe one of them surprises you. Reed Shepard surprised them. And some of these guys are ranked in the same area or higher than he was. I'm just throwing it out there. And again, like I said at the top, I know Cal said the thing about I don't want to recruit, coach guys for a year just for him to leave and go play for somebody else. I get that, but we're talking about the back end of your roster here. And so these are guys who could help you in practice, help you in a pinch, maybe surprise you. And if you get to keep them around, maybe they can help you. If they leave, who cares? They leave. Because you're still going to have a bunch of transfers. You're still going to be recruiting your McDonald's All-Americans anyway. So I don't necessarily see the harm in it. Will Arkansas do it? I don't know, man. But I would not be upset at all if they did. And I wanted to at least throw it out there to you guys to see how you feel about the idea. That's all. And it's also not like, because anytime Cal brings in a freshman, people want to say this. It's not like Cal would be over-relying on freshmen if he added a high upside youngster or two that weren't projected to be in the rotation right away. It would be doing exactly what they did last year, except upgrading the talent on the back end of the roster. And I don't see how that's a bad thing. Plus, you can't say that they're too reliant on freshmen when you have 4 returners off of a Sweet 16 team, plus a pair of older experienced big men in the mix already. Right? Just my thought. Okay. We're going a little bit long. The last thing I thought was that this was going to be a long podcast, but it is. But we're going into the weekend. It's fine. And honestly, I'm going to be gone over the course of this weekend. So Saturday and Sunday episodes might be a little bit shorter anyway. There you go. It all balances out. One thing that I wanted to at least mention as we wrap up for the day. Do you remember over last weekend when Arkansas got the football commitment, Julian Neal, the corner, and his dad posted that pic with John Calipari on the visit? Well, as it turns out, his other kid is a Division I basketball player who is in the portal as a grad transfer. EJ Neal, 6'5", 200-pound guard from Sacramento State. That's where David Patrick used to coach. He was at LSU this past year, but he used to coach at Sac State. Started for them this past year. 8 points, 3 boards, 1.5 assists, and a steal per game. Hit 55 threes at 34%. So just a fine player. Spent a year at Idaho. He spent 2 years in junior college in San Francisco where he averaged double-figure scoring, and he was the defensive player of the year in his league. So, a little bit of size, can make some threes, can guard, Couple years of D1 experience. Okay. So listen, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this kid would be like some massive pickup or, a rotation piece, nothing like that. Right. But if we're looking at what we've been talking about today, just filling out the back end of the roster with some upgraded talent who can push guys in practice, be a good teammate, and at least have multiple years of D1 experience under their belt. If you need somebody in a pinch, you can do a lot worse than this. Last year, they brought in Melo Sanchez as a transfer for the back end. So again, it's not unprecedented or anything like that. At any rate, I saw on Twitter that his dad has already started the social media campaign. Like, yo, Razorback fans, he's in the portal. He's available. Let's get him to Fayetteville, which is the main reason why I brought it up. Because after I did a little bit of digging, I was thinking, I got to think about, has Arkansas done something like this? And I thought about Melo. Played a couple years of college ball. They brought him in. He knew the assignment when he came in. And I'll see why this couldn't be an upgraded version of that if that's what the kid was looking for. Now, is John Calipari the type? It's like, I'm going to help Sam Pittman out. He already helped him out by meeting the other kid and leaving an impression on him to get that commitment, right? But is he going to be the one that's like, oh yeah, I'll take somebody from my hopeful Final Four roster just to appease the family of one of your football commit? No, he's not that guy at all. But I mean, if they took a little bit of time and looked into it and talked about it for back end guy, why not? So I just at least want to throw it out there because I thought it was interesting, and his dad seems like he's going to be fun during the course of the season on social media and everything like that. Pretty cool deal. Will anything come of it? I don't know. Probably not. But if it does, we talked about it, right? Okay. So, hey, appreciate you guys, man. Lots of ancillary, back into the roster talk today. But this is what we said we were going to do here to round out the week. So now we've talked about the hypothetical 5th year thing and dropped a bunch of names just in case that becomes a reality. We've gone through the available high school guys and that potential angle for, fleshing this thing out a little bit, or maybe a surprise here and there. Tomorrow, it's International Day here on the Pod the Palace, which is a little bit more exciting because these are guys who are usually older, who have played in professional leagues, who could be immediate impact types. They're mysterious. Listen, I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on, the Euro leagues or whatever, the Adriatic League. But I'm going to have some fun facts for you guys. And I think a pretty decent list of available international players who are looking to come to college, who are of note, who are at least intriguing to me, that we can run through and talk about. Should be a lot of fun. And hopefully I do some justice pronouncing their names, but we're going to get out of here. Appreciate you guys. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel Inside Arkansas, make sure you do so, and find us wherever you find your podcast. The Pod at the Palace is there on Apple, Spotify, and anywhere else. We will be back bright and early in the morning. As always, it's been Curtis Wilkerson with Inside Arkansas on the Pod at the Palace. Have a good day. We'll see you next time.